Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Be the Man. And of course, we couldn't do it without the Hall of Famer himself, the greatest wrestler of all time, ladies and gentlemen, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Rick, how's it going, man? How are you?
Good morning, young man. I'm great. Thank you.
Man, I'm excited to be on with you today. We had a big weekend in Chicago, raising money for Mongo. We're still doing it over at moneyformongo.com. And as we're talking right now, Rick, we're real close to $17,000. I think by the end of the week, we'll be north of 20 grand. It was a fun time, man. Thanks for coming out.
No, it was great. Unbelievable. You know, I never understand people. You try your best to make everybody as happy as can be, and there's always going to be somebody out there with some smart ass comment. Who knows? I want to make everybody aware of the fact that Mongo is completely 100% aware of everything he hears, watches, sees. He just can't communicate.
Right.
But he mentally 100%. And we actually wanted to bring Mongo down to the event and almost did, as you know.
Yeah.
You can only imagine what some smart ass would have said about that. It's amazing. How about putting in some money and just shutting your fucking mouth? Really?
Well, I don't know who's got you fired up today. I haven't seen.
I just read a couple of negatives. Doesn't matter, but it wasn't. No. People told me I don't read anything anymore. But if you read it, you can't believe everything you read anyway. So it doesn't matter. It's just always going to be that leave the poor guy alone. Really, I don't think he wants to be left alone. He's alone enough, So sorry for those people that didn't think that was cool, but man, I'm gonna be doing it and going to see him again in 2 weeks and try to get to see him at least once a month. And I'm going to take a picture with him every time.
Every little bit helps. Hope you'll go ahead and make a donation. Moneyformongo.com. Again, 100% goes directly to Mongo and his lovely bride. And, nothing to Rick, nothing to myself, nothing to fight. It's all for Mongo. Moneyformongo.com. Of course, that wasn't the only news over the weekend. A lot of stuff happening in the more recent days. But before we talk about AEW, I do want to ask what you thought of the decision to not take the belt off of Roman and put it on Drew. We had the big clash at the castle, a huge show. Everybody remembers how important SummerSlam 92 was, not even to just, Great Britain, but the whole UK, man, they were obsessed
with
that.
There.
And it was a special moment to see one of their own win the championship in the last match, even if it was the Intercontinental. So I think a lot of people, myself included, thought, well, hypothetically, we don't need Rock and Roman to be a title match. If that's the direction they're headed, it would be a huge match with or without a championship.
That was just Jeff's thinking.
What do you think? Were you surprised to see that Drew didn't get his hand raised?
Well, it's not that Drew didn't deserve not to win it, but if you're going to eventually, if that's the plan, which we all hope it is, and I'm sure the company hopes it is. I'm assuming the company never hope or assume anything, but if the plan is the Rock and Roman, I just think that the word, ladies and gentlemen, for the World Heavyweight Championship are very important in that match.
Yeah.
And I think taking the belt off Roman is taking nothing away from Drew could very easily carry it and be a good champion as well. But the big match for the company, maybe one of the biggest of all time, obviously, is Rock, if he elects to do that, and Roman. So why take any luster off Roman? The way they did it didn't hurt Drew at all. And Drew, is always going to be great.
Also over the weekend, one of the other big news and notes coming out of Cardiff was the idea that Dominic turned on his father, Rey Mysterio. What do you think?
He looked good last night.
What do you think?
I loved it. He pulled it off. It looked great, and I liked. They've got that new little faction together. I like that. Yeah, but he fits really well in that faction. I like it. Good for him. Get out from under his dad. What a great relationship they have, and so what a way to get him out on his own and let him do his own thing. I tell you, he doesn't always want to be, Ray's son. He wants to be Dominic Mysterio, and he looked the part last night. He looked good, his hair slicked back and everything, black vest. I really enjoyed it.
I'm curious if you had a chance to see Gunther and Sheamus. Of all the folks we've talked about on the main roster, I don't think you and I have ever even broached the subject of Gunther. What do you think of Gunther? And did you get a chance to see his performance with Sheamus?
I did not. Was it good?
It was great.
Yeah.
A lot of wrestling fans think he's going to be a big star. And I was just curious have you seen any of Gunther's stuff yet?
I have. Yeah. He's big, powerful guy, but he had a lot of finesse as well.
And then, of course, the wrestling world is
how big is he? 280?
Well, that's the thing. He's really done a body transformation. You saw him, and maybe you didn't see it, but down in NXT, he was a different human being than he is here on the main roster. He's really dialed in his physique and his dieting and his training regimen. He looks like a different person. He looks phenomenal.
Like, how much does he weigh? 250?
It'd be tough for me to guess. Maybe. Let's talk about AEW. The rest of the world.
I'm just saying he'd be a great opponent for Brock down the line.
Oh, for sure. I think he'd be a great opponent for Roman or Drew or any of those guys.
Yeah, Randy.
Of course, right now he's sporting the Intercontinental title, but a lot of people think it's just a matter of time before he's got some new hardware. Speaking of hardware, there were flying chairs and everything else this past week after the AEW show. Did you have a chance to catch any of the AEW show, and have you heard any of the rumor and innuendo?
I have. I've been watching this from afar. It's very entertaining. If it's entertainment the fans want, it's entertainment they're getting, and Punk has given them a lot of it.
Have you spent any significant time with Punk? I know you've had a little bit of time with him in WWE.
But we just barely got to say hi.
Right.
Isn't that funny? I never understood it. I was long gone when all the bad blood seemed to appear between he and Hunter, and then the lawsuit with the doctor and all that. I wasn't aware of any of that. I just saw it, of course, like everybody else on social media. And I I always sided with Hunter on that because I didn't know the other guy. So, but he's creating excitement now. And if he's not afraid to say it and afraid to, I like the way he said, "I'll walk down the hall and be ready." I mean, that's Harley Race talking right there. I don't know if he's that tough, but I love that. That's old time stuff right there. It is. You got a problem with me, you can find me right there in the building.
Well, they did. They found him, and I think the whispers are there's a whole bunch of suspensions, and a lot of folks are going to have hurt feelings and a lot of fallout, and maybe there's third parties involved now, and it's going to be an interesting time. And I'm curious from your perspective.
It's got to be a divided locker room,
to say the least. Do you remember being? I mean, we've always heard about personal issues, right? So maybe it was a Jacques Rougeau and a Dynamite Kid, or it was a Bret Hart and a Shawn Michaels. But do you remember there being ever Dave Meltzer described this as a melee. It wasn't one or two guys; it was several guys, and there's fists being thrown, and people are biting each other, and chairs are flying, and now maybe there's black eyes. It's a mess.
That serious, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
I've heard more than I should probably share here, but I do want to ask.
No, why would you hold back? For what reason?
Stuff in confidence. So
for somebody else's podcast?
Oh no. No. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm in a bad spot because I'm Switzerland, Rick. So if I say anything bad about this company or that company, then,
but you won't be saying anything bad if you just report what happened.
Well, I wasn't there, but I hear things and people say things, and you never know what's real and what's not. But I'm curious. You've been in a lot of locker rooms. Do you remember there ever being a melee, like something described?
Oh yeah, God, yeah. I've seen some. In the old days, it happened all the time.
Give us an example of one time you saw just a real Pier 6 brawl in the backstage area.
You mean in one? There's two kinds of brawls.
Okay.
There's one where a guy will start a fight because he knows it's going to get broken up.
Okay.
Because there's so many people around. And I would think this is probably the situation with these guys. You know what I mean? It's not like they're walking in the dressing room to talk to Harley Race or Blackjack. That would take a lot of thinking and a lot of talking to walk in to talk to Harley Race about something they didn't like as an individual.
Right.
Or Jack Mulligan. Or Jack Briscoe. I mean, Ole Anderson calling out Jack Briscoe, he still hasn't showed up. Ole. You know what I mean? It's easy to say it if you can't be found, but I actually thought it was pretty cool if what I've told, and I don't know anything about who won the fight or who did what, but the fact that Punk said, I think if I'm not wrong, he said, I'm here in the building if you want to find me, right? Something like that.
Yep.
I like that. And it's probably not what Tony or anybody wants to hear, but you know, if he has the courage to say that and he feels that strongly about somebody, hey, I don't blame him for saying it. And I don't. I mean, I like Omega and I like the Young Bucks, so I don't know what he could possibly be. They seem to me like really easy guys to get along with, but I don't know them that well, and they're all. For me, it's how they treat me as an individual,
right?
And they treat me great. I had a chance to be around Kenny a lot when he wrestled Manny in Mexico, and really got to know him pretty good. And the Young Bucks have always been awesome. So I don't know, and CM Punk, I don't know him, so. But he said it, and I don't know anything about Colt Cabana. That's really, I have no idea what's going on there. But he seems to be under Punk's skin a little bit, huh?
I think that's fair to say. I
know nothing about that.
Well, let's talk.
I fed him, and I decided not to feed him. That's pretty good.
We're doing Ask Nate Anything.
Wish I could have said that in divorce court.
You've had plenty of opportunities there, that's for sure.
I knew I gave you a home run there, brother.
Well, listen, maybe you can say it next time. Okay. There's always hope for next time. We're going to bounce around, talk about 100 different subjects today. Let's do a question from Nick. He wants to know, were American wrestlers nervous about going to Puerto Rico after the events of the Brody murder and the subsequent trial?
Nobody went for about 5 years that I know of.
What changed? Why and when do you remember people being more?
Well, I think a lot of it was just out of respect for Frank. And I think that it scared some people. I just knew that I was NWA champion when that happened. I just knew that the NWA wasn't going back. Yeah, you know, it's one of those. There are a couple of things that have really happened that are strange, and I know a lot more about that situation that kind of like you don't want to talk about. Yeah. A lot more to that situation than people know about, but because I worked down there so much, I wasn't there. I was there the week before, I think, but I was not there to see it. But I have seen that. I have seen. It's a very, very, back then, not now. The fans are very aggressive. People are aggressive. It's an aggressive culture. And I think that I've learned over the years when you're in a foreign country, you pretty much need to try and get along with everybody. So I don't know what went wrong that night, but it's a terrible, terrible loss. It was a terrible loss for us. Brody was one of the best performers of his time. And he may be arguably the best big guy, like right there with Taker, that has ever been in the business. A completely different style, but I mean, he was a hell of an athlete. Big, impressive, tough, scary, take no shit kind of a guy. So I just feel bad about the whole thing. I didn't see Jose when I was down there with Carlos last month, but you know, I have been in really, really bad positions, like in Santo Domingo and in Trinidad, where the people were killing me, and one of the guys, first guy there in the ring to help me get away, I mean, to get out literally alive, was Gonzalez. So, you know, it's hard for me to even comment on it. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Let's just leave it at that.
Dan Barillo wants to know, being Ric Flair, you've heard it all from fans and critics. What's one thing you wish you'd never hear again?
What's the one thing I should never hear again?
That you wish, I'm sure fans and critics say, oh, Mr. Flair, blah, blah, blah. Is there one thing you get tired of hearing?
About me or the business?
Either.
I get really tired of ignorant opinions.
Give us an example.
It as many people there are in pro sports, aside from pro wrestling, that really should not have a mouth or an opinion, period, because they don't have any idea what it is to sweat, much less bleed, much less go on the road, much less drive 3,000 miles a week. How can they have an opinion on anybody's life or lifestyle? And how can someone that has not ever done anything with a football, never worked out, never done shit, have an opinion about football or baseball? If you haven't done something competitive in your life where you really had to compete and sweat and get hurt and pay the price, it's one of my favorite lines, pay the price of a lifetime, then goddamn it, you should not have the ear of the American public to criticize anybody.
You're talking to Skip Bayless right now, right?
I'm talking to a lot of people. Seriously,
yeah.
It's amazing because they are making opinions on something that they just read or look at or analyze, not because they've ever done anything with it. See, I'll give you my personal opinion. I'm such a tennis fan.
Yeah.
I could never say this, but I will say it. Would never say it like on Twitter or something, but I wish Serena had not played the doubles match before. And I know she did it because she and her sister are very close, and and she made a decision based on emotion. But Serena should still be in the tournament, and I believe she would be if she hadn't played that doubles match the night before.
Yeah.
But that's who she is. That's what makes her the greatest of all time. I mean, I hear Margaret Court's upset about that comment, but, it's like they're still talking about Michael. They're still talking about LeBron.
Yeah.
And I don't hear anybody else's name in the conversation except Kobe. Hell, they're still talking about Wilt and Shaq, So to be 41 years old in semifinals with a 5-year-old daughter, and I mean playing her ass off, God bless Serena Williams.
Well said.
If anybody should be bitching about not getting enough acclamation, it'd be Chris, who's sitting right there in the court.
Right.
Who's ranked number one in the world longer than any woman ever.
Yeah.
She's got no problem passing the torch.
Mr. Rightway wants to know, Rick, when did you know that you fell in love with pro wrestling? Is there a moment as a kid, as a young fan, where you're like, oh, this is my shit, man?
The first time I saw the Crusher on TV.
Really?
Yeah. Let me see. I was probably like 10 years old, maybe 8 years old. I fell in love with it, never knowing I was going to do it, but I loved watching it. But I like roller derby too, and hockey, anything that was physical.
What was it about the Crusher that drew you to him? What
the
is
greatest promo? I mean, it's a very simple promo, but the dollies and the babes and the drinking the beer at the bar, and I refined that a little bit to be style and profile. But he was a real charismatic guy. I wouldn't say he was AJ Styles in the ring by any means, but he and Dick DeBruzer were entertaining as hell. And with Bobby Heenan managing the Blackjacks, Lands and Mulligan against those guys, but they drew some major money. Oh my God. As did Henning and Race together. Larry and Harley. Can you imagine jumping on a heart.
We can't debate RecTeq, an amazing company that offers wood pellet grills fueled by all natural hardwood pellets. I got to tell you guys, I've had a gas grill. I've had the messy charcoal grill, but the RecTeq is beyond compare. They've got grills ranging for just $399. They've got grills for every lifestyle and every budget, with a key focus on flavor, convenience, and versatility. Their factory direct pricing eliminates the middleman, and all grills ship for free. Plus, RecTeq pellet grills are made with high quality stainless steel and built to last a lifetime. RecTeq's flagship model, the RT700, comes with a 40-pound pellet hopper, 702 square inches of cooking space, and the PID Wi-Fi controller, plus a 6-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. You can bake, smoke, sear, grill, even dehydrate on the grill, all with the push of a button, and that's why those in the know choose RecTeq. So toss aside that tasteless gas grill, get rid of that old messy charcoal grill, and join an elite wood pellet grilling family by focusing on flavor, convenience, and versatility. RecTeq really has set the new standard in grilling. So visit RecTeq.com. That's RecTeq.com, and use the promo code NatureBoy5 to save 5% off site-wide. That's 5% off their top-notch wood pellet grills, their one-of-a-kind icer coolers, the rubs, the sauces, the accessories, the merchandise. Everything's 5% off when you go to RecTeq.com and use the promo code NatureBoy5.
Can you imagine getting in a ring with Harley Race and Larry Hennig? I had that experience. Get up, kid. Get up, kid. He's
the
just playing with you. He's just playing with you, kid. Don't let him break you.
Tremendous.
You think they can do that now?
No.
What do you think would happen? Just as an example, if all that melee was going on in the locker room when Harley Race broke down the door.
I think everyone would stop what they were doing.
Everyone would have gone, ah! Wyatt Earp's here, boys. He'd have gone, kids, settle down before I have to hurt one of you. That's the way it would have been. Same with Jack Mulligan or Dick Slater. I've seen some tough guys come through the door.
A different time for sure.
Yeah. Different time, the same business.
People's Champ wants to know, has there ever been a situation where Ric regretted putting someone over? And if so, why?
I don't know that I ever regretted it. I mean, I couldn't understand why sometimes, but I don't think I've ever thought past that. I mean, I could have gone on that panel way I did today. There was some live ammunition available for me right there, but you either live in the past or you move forward. But there was a lot of ammunition at that table there today on that thing for Mongo. You know,
I like
people have made a living dicking my life around, or making comments, or adding or subtracting from things they wouldn't know if they weren't in the office. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like, people ask me all the time, you know, about Hunter and I, you know, Hunter and I, our disagreement is not about, it was about the trademark, but how many guys, this is a very real opportunity to address this. Do you think that if it was Shawn Michaels or Steve or Taker or Bret Hart, if they, for example, had called Becky like Hitman Becky or Heartbreak Becky or they wouldn't have been equally as pissed? We're not talking about just a name. We're talking about millions of dollars. Millions. As you know, merchandise is millions.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things. It happens, and you can't dwell on it. You have to move forward. But I think people at that level of notoriety that have worked that hard on their brand would be as upset as I was. Because ultimately I won. They still don't have the man. Even though I sold it to them, they can't get it to them. They can't get it. So, but I didn't make any money. So what do you win?
Stinky Whizzle Teats, what a name, wants to know, where's the best place to style and profile in Tampa?
Wow. Well, they say Hyde Park, Soho, or Channel Side, or the Heron. The Nature Boy can be found at Channel Side.
Yes, he can.
I'll tell you, Tampa, I never realized, and I had not realized how beautiful this city is. I mean, I've lived in Charlotte for 42 years, then 9 years in Atlanta, but I spent half my life in Atlanta working there back, from Charlotte.
Tampa's better than all
down here. Tampa is God. The real estate values are insane. It's a beautiful city. The mayor, the sheriff, I mean, everybody. They've kept it really nice, and it's a great place to live. And I know that when you came, I think you were surprised at how cool it is.
Oh yeah, I'll be back. I'm trying to come back next weekend. It's going to be fun.
What are you going to Cancun for?
I can't talk about it on the podcast.
Oh, you can't?
No. Double secret probation stuff.
Okay.
Dwayne wants to know, does Rick know who his birth parents are? Do they know who he became?
I have no idea. Fred Phillips, you mean?
Yeah. I don't think a lot of our listeners maybe even know that. Do you want to?
The Nature Boy, Fred Phillips. I don't think so.
That would have sounded a little different, maybe.
Yeah. My actual brother reached out to me.
Really?
About a year ago, yeah.
I didn't know that. How did that go?
He wanted to get together, and I declined.
What's the thinking there? No interest?
But where do you go from there?
Right. Yeah. What are you going to talk about?
What are you going to talk about?
Yeah.
I mean, Beth used to exhaust me wanting to know, the kids, they need to know your medical background. I mean, so, I just don't, I was so happy with my parents, and I was so lucky to have them that I never looked back and never thought about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they felt the same way, but I certainly did.
Kevin on Twitter wants to know.
Little Ricky.
Little Ricky. You mean little Fred?
Mom. Little Fred. Mom, I'll go downstairs.
Kevin wants to know, would marketing JCP with action figures, cartoons, and cereal have alienated the fan base in the 80s? What things could they have done to market and still remain the serious promotion? That's an interesting question. Of course, the WWE became a licensing juggernaut. They had rock and wrestling cartoons, the association with MTV. They had the LJN action figures and lunch boxes and vitamins and everything else. Crockett never really.
I think we could have had merchandise. I would have left the cartoons then out.
Yeah.
They had a machine.
Right.
And Hulk was the head of the machine, and we had a better wrestling product, but we didn't make nearly as much money because of merchandise. I mean, we sold out just like they did. We just didn't have any. I think Charlotte was different than New York, and in New York, people came to Vince and said, "Hey, we can do this with your brand, and we can do this." And who even knew what brand meant in 1980? Did you?
No, of course not.
Did the word brand exist? No.
Not like it's a buzzword now, for sure.
Now it's in everybody's life.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. The Four Horsemen we should have gotten rich on merchandise. Rock and Roll Express, Steamboat, Magnum, Dusty. I mean, look at how relevant Dusty stuff is today. I mean, people still talk to me about Dusty.
Yes.
Piper. I mean, but the marketing, they didn't have that, and I think that's more because we were in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the people that did that stuff and did it for a living were right there in the New York area. But I definitely agree we could have had marketing and still had a better wrestling product.
Darren wants to know, was the Space Mountain promo completely off the cuff?
Off the cuff. Spring break. If you're driving to Orlando, why not pull over on Riverdale Road? 18 to 28, no boyfriends, no husbands. Marriott Hotel. And ride Space Mountain for free all night long.
So silly, but so fun.
Unbelievable, huh?
Lewis Appleton.
I was pretty witty.
No doubt. StarCast 5 was brought to you by CarShield. So is this podcast. They make it easy and affordable, protect our cars from expensive repairs, and that's just for starters. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the U.S. and offers protection plans for around $100 a month. The plans cover more parts than ever before, whether your car has 5,000 miles or 150,000 miles. And let me tell you how simple it is to get your car fixed. When you need a repair, you choose the mechanic, and CarShield's administrators handle the rest. That's it. You don't have to deal with the paperwork or the headaches. You're taken care of. Same goes if your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road. Plans through CarShield also include coast-to-coast roadside assistance. CarShield administrators are there for you with rental car options and trip reimbursement at no extra cost, too. Get coverage today, and you'll lock in your price now, and it will never go up. That means as long as you own your car, no matter how old it is, you're protected from the rising cost of parts and repairs for your vehicle. CarShield helps protect my wallet from expensive car repairs, and they'll do the same for you. Go to carshield.com/podcast to start your plan and lock in your pricing forever. That's carshield.com/podcast. A deductible may apply. Lewis Appleton wants to know, if not a wrestler, what? That's a fun question. What do you think?
I don't know. That's a big question mark. For years, I told people I wanted to be a dentist. I couldn't pass. It took me 18 years or 13 years to get out of high school, and probably would have taken me 18 years to pass a calculus class. So how was I going to be a dentist? That was just a convenient answer. I don't know I probably would have sold something. Who knows? I think I would have been successful, whatever I chose to do. It was just finding my niche.
Well, you found it.
Yeah, when I found my niche, and I couldn't. It's been a 50-year itch. My niche is the 50-year itch.
Singpath wants to know, who's a better worker, Bret or Sting?
Better worker, Bret or Sting? I'll go like this. More technically better is Bret. Charismatically, Sting.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, you can't take anything away from Bret's great technical skills. He was a real mad technician. But I think Sting in the 80s with the blonde hair and that thing was really one of the top 3 most charismatic people I'd been around, or 4. I mean, he oozed of it, and he just on top of that, he's a great guy. And how about me and Bret Hart being best friends, huh?
Who would have thought?
That's amazing. All those years of that bullshit. Unbelievable. Yeah. Every time I see him now, it's just like, how you doing, man? Him come to my match. He even finally came over to Kid Rock's and had a beer. That was a lot.
Sean McCusker wants to know, any good Ernie Ladd stories? We never talk about Ernie here.
The Big Cat, man. Me and the Big Cat were like this. So here's the best Ernie Ladd story of all time for me. Is he was good friends with Jack Kemp, who was a quarterback for the Patriots or the Bills, who ended up being a U.S. Senator, right?
Right.
So and he loves sports, and we would talk about sports, and he'd say, "Yo, I feel like driving. I'm a little tired." So I drive, about 3 hours, a 6-hour trip. He'd say, "You need me to drive?" I'd say, "Yeah, God, you mind for a while?" Started up drinking like hell. He didn't drink very much, and he had that Lincoln. He had it all the way back, and I'd be driving for he'd be driving for 5 minutes, and I would close my eyes, and he'd go off the road. And I jerk my head back up. I go, "You okay?" He said, "Yeah, I just dozed off for a second." We'd go 2 more minutes, he'd do it again. So I better let me drive. He would just fake me out all the time. He just wasn't going to drive. It became the big cat's personal driver when he was there. But I loved me some Ernie Ladd, boy. What a great guy.
Mark Clark wants to know, did Ric ever meet Elvis Presley, and has he ever been to Graceland?
Neither one.
I kind of thought for sure you would have been to Graceland at some point.
No, I never have been. Isn't that funny? You know, it's funny. I've never been in the Smithsonian Institute to see my robe either.
Well, we should make that happen.
I was there as a kid, but I never got to go there. I've been to the Smithsonian as a kid, but I've never been to Graceland.
Skylar Steele wants to know, what's your biggest regret in the business and your biggest regret outside of the business?
Biggest regret in the business was not telling Eric I had to get paid the same to go do the job.
You mean when Hogan and Nacho were coming in?
Yep. I went and recruited them both, talked them both into coming, and I should have said right there, I'm not doing this without pay, which was suggested to me many times. And then, of course, my second biggest regret in the business would be the fact that Barry Bloom represented me along with Michael Braverman, who also represented Eric, also represented, I think, Scott and Kevin at that time. I mean, talk about a conflict of interest. But you believe it. We have no choice because don't know anything else except the wrestling world. We have no choice but to believe in what they tell us. And
right.
Up until recently, I've never had legitimately a good lawyer or agent. They all nicked me.
Jordan Cleveland has a fun story I'm sure you're going to love. What's your best Michael Hayes story?
Oh God, so many with Michael. Without telling a story, I guess the greatest thing for a guy that admired Michael a lot was we were getting off the tram at the Atlanta airport, riding upstairs, and I'm walking over to get in the car with Arn, and Michael's walking over to get in the limousine with Cher and Greg Allman. And I said, Michael, you've made it, brother. Cher was standing right there. No shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I went with Michael to the Limelight to see her back in the 80s. We drove in from Columbus. God, I love Michael Hayes. He's been such a good friend for so many years and so long, and had so many good times. My 40th birthday in 17 was at Baltimore. A night to remember.
Andrew wants to know, what's your favorite Rolex you ever had?
Well, by far the favorite Rolex is the one that Sean gave me.
Yeah. That
I gave to Ashley after when I got real sick, I realized that I needed to start giving out my stuff because I'd rather have them see him wear it now than be dead, and knowing that they had it, but not getting them to see him, not getting it. That's why I gave you Andrade my Hall of Fame rings.
Yeah.
I'd rather have to see you guys wear them now than when I'm gone,
Well, that's awesome. Thank you.
No, it's the way I feel. I mean, it's nice to have all this stuff in these trusts you put together, like my intellectual property and all that. But what good does it do if you can't, see Ashley wouldn't take that watch off for anything in the world.
Right.
And read one that more than anything. So I figured that I would just give it to her and she won't take it off, and Andrade wears the ring and you wear yours, I hope. And
of course,
I'm prouder of that than I am. I'm proud proud of the fact that I received them for the company, but I'd rather have my family wear it now where I can see them.
Tony Jones wants to know, and this is a serious question. We've had a lot of fun today. What would your advice be to people who've lost a child?
Ooh. Not to wow. I made some bad choices after Reed passed. I would say to surround yourself with your family, and not to just stray off and find so much misery within yourself. And with my problem was I blame myself, and there's no way to share that guilt, because he was with me. We call it like dying. I've said 1,000 times dying on my watch, but I made some terrible choices in life after that, and I drank a lot. I drank, but I mean, that was like major din. I said 10 a.m. to 2 for 5 years. I completely put my life on hold because I blamed myself, and I do to this day somewhat. He wanted to be like me, and that wasn't cool.
Let's lighten the mood a little bit. Daryl wants to know.
I'm just being honest. I don't know. I would just say surround yourself with family, and not you're looking for the first girl that can tell you something to take your mind off it.
Daryl wants to know, did you ever actually ride Space Mountain, the roller coaster? That would have been a fun photo walk. You did do it?
I stood in line for years, yeah.
How about that? I can't believe you had to stand in line, didn't they?
With all 4 of my kids.
That's fantastic.
Then along came Universal, and I got that family pass, and they had the beer at the Jimmy Buffett's and the turkey wings. So I moved over to Universal real fast. That no alcohol at Disneyland and opened up Epcot did not work. On a 100-degree day.
Peter James Morrison wants to know, did you ever use any of your title belts as a prop in the bedroom?
Oh, absolutely. You kidding?
My goodness.
That's a great question, but it's almost ridiculous. What do you think?
Hey, Clint, we need to sterilize the belts later.
What do you think?
Just, trying to get ready. Need to make sure that we're taking proper precautions.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you can wear this if you want to. Hell, I don't really know where those robes have been.
Oh, Lord.
Woo!
Rob wants to know, what's the best Tony Schiavone story that's never been told?
I can't touch it. I can't touch it, Tony. I had too much fun with Tony the other day. Kelly's Asian friend from Korea was with us.
She's a nice lady. Yeah, I met her in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, she's beautiful. She at Indiana State, and she lives in Indianapolis. She drove up for the weekend, but I told Schiavone she was my traveling Asian masseuse.
Oh my gosh!
So Schiavone walked up to her and said, "Are you really Ric, a traveling Asian masseuse?" And she said yes. He said he doesn't even know. I said, "How much do you cost?"
My goodness.
That's all I'll tell you. My traveling Asian masseuse. That's a good one.
By the way, it was nice to see Joe Gomez come hang out with us.
Oh, Joe was great, huh? Yeah, he went to Mongo's with me too. Mongo smiled for a whole hour.
That's fantastic.
I didn't realize that, he has that. They which is interesting. I didn't know this. I don't know if I told you this. They inject him with cannabis, the oil cannabis.
Oh wow, okay.
Cannabis oil, and then with little Xanax and all that about 4 times a day. And right after the injection, he is so alert for a while, and he literally smiled for a whole hour while we were there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, his eyes lit up, and he smiled, and he moved his lips, and Misty can understand him. It's hard for me to, but yeah. Oh, Dean Malenko came as well, so yeah, it was really nice. God, to see him fighting like this, and then every time I wonder if I could make it, or any of us could make it, or anybody you're close to, you look at that and you see him smile and laugh, and he looked at me and was trying to ask me who Kelly was. I said, she's my assistant. He big smile came on his face. I said, Mongo, there is.
You should have told him. You should have used his own line. She's on scholarship.
Yeah. She's on scholarship, yeah. Oh, God.
Bill Robinson wants to know, what do you call the move when you go upside down in the corner? You know, the up and over. What do you call that?
Oh, the Ray Stevens bump.
Okay.
I learned it from Ray. And then Sean got where he could do it better.
Carl wants to know, when was the first time you met Hulk Hogan?
In Atlanta TV, Terry Bollea. Okay. Sterling Golden.
How about that?
He was on his way to Memphis. But what a great physique he had then. Wow.
Demetrios wants to know, if you had to do it all over again, would you?
My whole career?
Yep.
Everything minus 2 marriages.
There you go.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have got married twice. I just can't say enough. No sense even commenting on it.
Jose wants to know, who would you like to play you in a movie?
Well, there's talks right now that I can't mention. They are making a movie on my life. And I know that they've talked to Bradley Cooper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I could see him doing that. I could see him.
Yeah, I don't know what I expected.
That's the only name that's come up, and that's only rumored. I mean, I've heard it officially, but it's not in place. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is not true that he's playing Ric Flair. I would like, and I heard they have talked to. That's true. Okay, Bradley Cooper is not playing me in a movie. So
yet,
we hope he does.
Yeah. So producer Steve,
you know what else I like? I like Chris Pratt. That TV show Terminal List is unbelievable. Have you seen it on Prime?
No, I know you love it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you've got to see Terminal List. It's phenomenal.
Producer Steve is telling us that Sebastian Stan would really like to play you in a movie.
I've been told that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
Tony wants to know, what's with the tape on the fingers? How or what? How does it work? Why does it work?
It's where I carry my blade.
How many times did you tape your fingers when you didn't have a blade just because you wanted to have
every night my whole career.
I see.
I was so superstitious about having them all taped like that, whether I had a blade or not.
Is there
very rarely I didn't have a blade.
Who sat you down and
taught you? In the 80s? Huh?
Who sat you down and taught you how to A, make a blade, and B,
Art
do
Nielsen.
Stuff?
Art Nielsen.
Tell us about Art. It's not a name I'm familiar with.
Roanoke, Virginia. So I met Art, and he was a fitness freak at this point in time. And he grabbed me and said, "Do you want to ride with me, kid?" And he was a rough old veteran. I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." And we did the wheel every night, 500 on the wheel. That's the first time I'd ever seen that damn wheel. You know, where you get on your knees and roll it out back and forth.
Yeah.
We would do 500 of those before the matches every night.
And he's the one who taught you about the finger on the tape and the whole deal?
Yep, in Roanoke, Virginia. At the old something garden long before the Roanoke City Center. Yeah. He said, "Do you want to?" He said, "You want to make $50 more tonight?" The promoter wants to know, and I said, "Yeah." He said, "What do you think about cutting yourself?" I said, "How do you do that?" Yeah, $50. Hell yeah. he put it on me. I memorized it real fast.
Uncle J89 wants to know, is there one match or storyline you wish you could go back and redo, and why?
One match or storyline I wish I could go back and do, and why? Oh God, my last match.
What would you change?
I would have gotten hydrated and been able to do all the stuff. I would have done. The last thing you'd ever think about was getting dehydrated. You wouldn't. I'd never experienced that in my life. I felt great. I just forgot. Does that make sense?
By the way,
doctors checked me out. I've been there. There's nothing wrong with me. I just was fixated on weighing 218 pounds.
right.
And I was shit. I ate the egg whites. I drank one cup of coffee. I never thought about drinking a bottle of water all day long. And you can imagine I was nervous. So I never even saw a match on the cards. And I heard there's some great matches. We've talked about that. The undercard card was great. And I didn't get to see any of that because I was so mentally, wrecked about getting my stuff together. It's a lot of pressure when you realize how many people are depending on you, and not depending on me, but yeah, I put way too much pressure on myself, but clearly I couldn't just get in the ring and go woo. I knew that, so I spent those 3 months, as you know, training my ass off, and I just wish that I would have thought about every aspect of something that could go wrong, because Jay and I practiced so much more stuff than we got to do. And when I got lightheaded, I didn't even think about the fact that I could that I would become dehydrated. That didn't even cross my mind.
How fun was it this past weekend when we got everybody together to watch your last match? Road Dogg, who was wearing the headsets in the back, and Jay Lethal and Jeff, and that was fun, man.
Oh God, it was the best. I had never seen it back. That's when you really realize how much better it could have been. But you can clearly see that the best part of it when Manny's trying to get up, sir. You have to hit him with the brass knuckles. You saw that, right?
Yes.
Wake up, sir. Get up, you old bastard.
Dragon 787 wants to know, when is Ric Flair drip coming to Florida? Everybody's asking in the comments about Ric Flair drip. Do you have any information you can share with us? Because I know you're in 11 states and expanding all the time.
Well, we'll be. We hope in the next 6 months. Awesome. So that's probably sitting over there in Tallahassee right now. But I know that it'll be a big hit down here.
Oh, for sure.
It's a big hit locally.
I'm sure it's been a big hit one at a time. I'm taking a look at Ric Flair drip here. Is this really fixing to happen? My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, Ric Flair drip coming to a state near you. 11 states and rolling. I can't believe what I'm looking at right here. But here's the Nature Boy lighting up right here on the podcast. Never thought I would see this before.
Neither did I.
And here we are, Ric Flair drip coming to a store near you. Tell us where we can find all the details about Ric Flair drip at.
I'll hop on to you. Details change every day. I've been told it's the finest.
I can't believe what we're looking at right now.
Huh?
I said, I can't believe what we're looking at right now, but I'm sure when you're done, you're going to want some Wooooo wings. You can find them on Uber Eats or the Postmates app in Nashville, San Antonio, Jacksonville, Huntsville, and Tuscaloosa. Oh, by the way, Wooooo Wings is looking to partner with existing restaurants in major metro areas. Tell your favorite sports bar or local restaurant you want Wooooo Wings in your town and to visit RicFlairWings.com for more information on how to become a partner. But if you're in Nashville, San Antonio, Jacksonville, Huntsville, or Tuscaloosa, just hop on your Uber Eats or Postmates app and look for Wooooo Wings. Perfect compliment for a Ric Flair drip. Rick, Steve from Jersey wants to know, what diet did you use to get in the best shape of your career?
Chicken, fish, chicken, fish, chicken, fish. Fresh vegetables steamed. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I only had one cheat day a week. So I would 240, I was like 238 down to 218, maybe 235 to 218. But and plus four 2-a-days a week. I tried doing 5 at first, but I was just too tired.
Right.
So, and, I know how to diet. I have done that before in my life. And there's always a formula. Everybody's got a different formula. But for me, if I eat chicken and fish, especially if I'm going to eat late at night, I have to eat something light, like salmon or something. The old me would be eating pasta from Joe's place and meatballs at 11 o'clock at night. I can't do that anymore. Keep my weight down. So, everything changes when you get older, as you know, and it just, you've got to find out what's right for you. You can get 1,000 opinions. You can have 800 million people tell you what to do, but you have to experiment with different ideas yourself and then figure it out from there.
Boy, here's something I never thought I would ask you, but I'm sure it's happened. Steve wants to know, do you remember an instance where a wrestler farted during a match?
Farted during a match?
I'm sure there's got to be some fun moment where somebody somewhere in the course of a match has a.
I left the spot in my trunks wrestling Ricky Steamboat.
Too many
in the Charlotte Coliseum. In the Charlotte Coliseum. Wow. That's another thing. That's another reason, to be honest with you. As you know, because of my surgery, that's another reason why I didn't eat all day long. Because you never know that my chemistry is not on a regular basis as a result of the surgery. But trust me, I'd rather have the issues have those issues than have the other happen when I was on my last match.
There's a couple Ferragamos that can tell the tale.
Yeah, more than a couple. Tracks in the Dallas airport.
Ian wants to know, who's going to win the Super Bowl this season?
Well, God, living here in Tampa now, you can't help but love the Buccaneers. And of course, after meeting Mike Vrabel, I can't help but, God, what a great guy he is.
You got to pull for the Titans a little bit.
So I got to pull him for the Titans, but I'm the kind of guy, I like to have friends or know the coach. So, that's why I'm always going to like Michigan a little bit for college because I know Jim so well. They got off to a good start. But the Super Bowl, God, I don't know. It's funny. I like the Buccaneers, but I really like Aaron Rodgers, and I hope for Rodgers' sake, and because as great as he is, they're always going to think he needs another Super Bowl. I hope the Packers make it, and I hope that God, I don't know. On the other side, I'm trying to think. God, I have to put some thought in that. I really like Russell Wilson, but I don't see the Broncos winning.
Yeah.
Who's on the other side?
A lot of sports books have the Bills.
Yeah. Josh Allen, it's got to be a big year for him. I like that. Stephon Diggs, he's their receiver, right?
I don't see the Bills getting there. Maybe
I don't either. I'm still going to go with the Buccaneers, the Packers, or the Rams, and then hey, it could be the Oakland, huh?
You got to be pulling for the Titans on the AFC side.
Oh, on Titans, yeah.
So I'm curious. Week 1 is in the books now. What'd you think of week 1 of college football? Your Georgia Bulldogs. I can't keep up with how you flip flop these teams, but man, they just destroyed Oregon. Does that tell us that Oregon isn't as good as we thought, or Georgia's better than we thought?
Well, I think first of all, I can't believe that LSU got beat.
I can.
What in the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, and second of all, I'm a big fan of that kid, that new coach at Notre Dame. Man, I think he's gonna end up having a good team. And I watched that special on him on game day. What a background, being an All-American linebacker at Ohio State. He's played. He's well educated, great family. Big fan of his, the Freeman kid. I like Georgia, but I don't know Kirby Smart. I've never met him. I made that joke last year. He said hi to me and didn't say hi to Herschel and didn't acknowledge me. So hard for me to be a Bulldog. I'm actually liking the Gators a little bit this year too, because of the fact that Napier, them beating they beat somebody. They beat Utah, right? Yeah. So Utah won the Pac-12 last year. Both Utah and Oregon got spanked.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's coming over to the SEC is a big deal, as you know. Being Alabama, you guys haven't played anybody yet, so you wouldn't know that.
55-0, though. Come on.
Who'd you play? Temple?
Well, Utah State.
Utah State. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Skiing school.
Utah State. Hey, so one last one, and then we'll wrap it up. I'm excited to ask this one because Will Matthews has a hilarious question that made me laugh out loud. Okay. Who is his favorite son-in-law? And Sergio M asks, to be specific, is it Conrad El Mortgage Guy or Andrade El Idolo? That's hilarious. Shout out to Sergio El Mortgage Guy. Love that.
It's a tie.
Oh, fuck off. We know the real answer. We just don't want heat from down under. I get it. I understand. I'm having a lot of fun. You guys will be too. We're going to be back next week, doing a little bit of talk about your last match in TNA with you and Sting from 2011.
Do we have to relive that?
You don't have to. We can just bullshit about what's going on and maybe catch everybody up on your take on the latest AEW and WWE controversies, because I'm sure there will be.
It's exciting. Was there a WWE controversy I don't know about?
Well, in wrestling, it's like the weather in Alabama. If you don't like it, just wait a few minutes. It'll change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
all right, man. Love you guys.
We'll see you guys next week right here on To Be the Man.